Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to a new Minecraft creation. I know it's been a while since our previous Minecraft creation, but I was getting the creative itch once again, and I came in and I wanted to build a board game. I've done two in the past. I think maybe three. I know for sure I've done two, but today I built a Digimon board game. So I at first had envisioned it to be a board game revolving around adventure, but I feel like adventure is done way too much in like creative outlets. People love to stick to adventure when they're making something or doing something. So I decided to go with like an original idea. I mean, these areas aren't necessarily original, but the idea of the board is my own thought process. So we have Chip Forest, Toy Town, and the City of Steel. Now these are real locations. I think this one's actually called like the Town of Steel or the Steel Town. It's something really. It's not as cool as City of Steel, so I decided to go with City of Steel. I changed it up a little bit, but Toy Town's obviously a real place, and then Chip Forest I think is from Digimon World Dusk and Dawn. So, or no, I think it's from Digimon World DS. I think this board game is very simple. I wanted to go with something simplistic as I got back into it because I didn't really remember all the nuances and stuff I had going with the last two board games, so I wanted to start simple and expand upon this in a new board game maybe as I learn new things and understand how to make processes better and systems better, which I definitely have when making this. I definitely remember how to make things a little bit better. So we're going to go through the rules of the board game. The rules, I do have a list. If you go to the Just Paste Me link in the description, you can just read the rules there. They're extremely simple. It's not even a page long. It is very simple because I like to mainstream my board games and mainstream like any sort of mini game or anything I'm making, just so kids can play it. Unless it's like a niche setting, like some crazy RPG or something, then I want to go more in depth and give more systems. But because it's Digimon and kids and adults alike enjoy it, I wanted to mainstream it so everyone could play it. So right off the bat, this is 1 to 10 players. I didn't want to go over 10 because that does seem a little bit excessive. But right off the bat, we have 6 different Digimon you can choose from. You have Agumon, Gabumon, Renamon, Hawkmon, Guillamon, and Tentomon. All of these Digimon will have different stats. So Agumon's going to be your basic default stats, 5-5, 5 attack, 5 defense. And then I think down the line more, you're going to have the weird ones that are like more defense compared to more attacks, stuff like that. But for now, we're going to just go with Agumon so I can demonstrate. So you get this piece of paper. It says Agumon, as you can see, it says Agumon, attack 5, defense 5. And that's pretty much how you're going to play the game, is through attack and defense. Thinking back on it, I should have done it with just one number. I did that before with a different board game, but it works just as well. You just have to do a little math here and there sometimes. So there's a couple different tiles. You're going to have red tiles, yellow tiles, and green tiles. There's one special red tile over there. But this blue tile here is just to start you off. So you're going to have 2 options when you start off. Well, not when you start off, but you're going to have 2 options when you get to a tile. But starting off at the start tile, you're just going to have 1 option, and that's to roll. Now, the order of who goes first and whatever, you can do it with a die or whatever you like, or just, decide the order. But so whoever's playing or whoever's going first is going to roll. So they rolled a 3, and then so that means they would go up 3 spots. So we're on a red tile, which is a combat tile. If you click scenario, it's going to give you the scenario of what Digimon's attacking you, what their attack and defense are, and then what you will get if you win and what you will lose if you lose. Most of the time it's just defense stats, or attack and defense stats up if you win, and attack and defense stats down if you lose. It does get pretty dicey if you are. I know making the attack and defense stats go down if you lose is kind of counterproductive, as if you keep losing, you're going to eventually turn into, a Numamon kind of thing. But I mean, there's no actual Digivolutions, but I'm just saying you'll turn to crap if you keep losing. But there's ways around this. There are items and stuff to prevent you from losing. So typically, you would not want to lose a single fight. You may have to lose a couple fights, and if you do, you're kind of in a bad position. But typically, you want to make sure that you're winning every single fight to train your Digimon to get to the final boss. So how this is going to work is because, let's click the scenario again. So this Candlemon has a 5 defense, or 5 attack, 3 defense. So our Agumon has 5 attack, 5 defense. So what's going to happen is it's going to be our attack against his defense. If our attack is better than his defense, we just win in the first round, or the first round, I guess you could call it. So our attack is 5, his defense is 3, so we win. So that means we get the win option. If you win, grab an item. Oh, hang on. If you win, grab an item from the next item tile, but stay on this tile. So then we're going to go to a green tile because that is an item tile. But we're going to go back here because it said to stay on this tile. So that will get us into item tiles. So when you land on an item tile, you can grab an item. So you click the item button, and so we have an attack chip. You get add 3 to attack. Now how items work is you can just use them in battle once and then they're gone. So if we were to go against this Candlemon, say this Candlemon had so he had 5 attack, 3 defense. Say he had like 8 defense. We currently only have 5 attack, so if he had 8 defense, we would need 3 more attack. So we could use this attack chip to get that 3 attack, and then we would just discard it by, I typically just would throw it in the top of my inventory, but sometimes it stacks, so you can just like throw it off the side of the map or whatever, as long as you remember where your spot is so you're not getting lost. So that's how items work, pretty simple. They're all just one-use items. There is one type that is permanent. It gives you a permanent attack and defense stat boost, so you would just give yourself those stats, and then you would just discard the item. So I'm going to go to another combat tile here just to get into how this works in terms of upgrading your Digimon. So a Gizamon leaps from a puddle and attacks. Attack 6, defense 3. So our attack is 5, our defensive is 3. So we have more attack than his defense, so we win in the first round once again. So that would mean that it says if you win, gain 1 attack, so we would get 1 attack. So how that works is you just throw your paper in the anvil, and you increase your attack by 1. Now if I said gain 1 attack, 1 defense, you would just do +1 attack and then +1 defense. And it's as simple as that. Now when you're in a battle, you don't actually like edit your stats at all. You just use the stats to fight the Digimon. Now if you lose, of course, so if we were to lose against this Gizamon, it says if you lose -2 defense. So we would just go in and -2 defense, so it would be 3 instead of 5. So once you get to the yellow tiles, these are to train your Digimon, and these are just simple stat boosts to give to your Digimon. And so this one gives us 2 defense, so we would just slap it in there and give ourselves 2 defense, bringing us up to 5. I kind of want to go down the line a little bit here and look at a harder scenario to give you guys an idea of how the battles would go if the stats were a little bit different. So his attack, this Digimon swoops down and attacks. His attack's 9 and his defense is 8. Our attack is actually a lot worse than that. We have 6, and so his defense is, what was it again? Let's just click scenario. His defense is 8, and our attack is 6. So clearly our 6 attack is not going to beat his 8 defense. So now we look at his stats. So he has 9 attack. So if his 9 attack is better than our defense, which is 5, it is, so he wins. So say we actually have a defense of 10, say. So at this point, we are attack 6, defense 10. So then the battle would go a little longer. So we only have a 6 attack, so we can't beat him off the rip with his 8 defense. He has a 9 attack, so he can't beat us off the rip with our 10 defense. So what would happen is he has 8 defense, we have 6 attack. That would bring his defense down to 2. So then you would ultimately go into a 3rd round. So I can't attack him and win. He can't attack me and win. So then his defense would be 2 in the 3rd round, and our defense would be he has attack 9. We have defense 10. So our defense would be 1 in the last round. But the thing is, we would beat him in the 3rd round because we have 6 attacks. So in total, we'd be doing 12 at the 2nd round, or in the 3rd round, if that makes any sense. Ultimately, you would just subtract the numbers. So my attack against his defense would leave him with 2 defense. And then you would just keep going like that. That's an easier way to explain it. It's kind of hard to explain in words, but as you play, you just basically you're just taking his defense and then subtracting our attack from his defense. And then when his defense hits 0, you win. You might have to do a little bit more math when it comes down to like the harder Digimon, but it's not anything crazy. It won't go past like a 4th round, I don't think. Now there's one rare tile. I didn't make any others. I don't know why I didn't make any others, but there's only one rare tile that has specific items in it. So it has one very specific item. I won't spoil that, but the scenario, your Digimon is attacked by an unknown force. If defense equals 9 or up, gain the item. If you lose, -3 defense. And then you would grab the item from here, just so you know how that works. Okay, I hope I did an alright job explaining that. I know it got a little bit more confusing when I was talking about the combat going into like multiple rounds, but I don't really know how to word it too correctly. But it's pretty simple. As long as you're doing your attack subtracted from the defense, then you're fine, and then you're good to go. That's the only like slightly complicated part to this, and that probably won't even happen that often. Usually it ends in the first round or second round of the fight. Third and fourth rounds are like kind of rare. I did like 2 play tests, and I think I got into like 2 or 3 occasions where it went into a third and fourth round. But it's just a little bit more math. It's nothing to be worried about. So as you keep progressing down the board, you're going to run into different Digimon. There are colors that represent that. So it goes from yellow to orange to red to purple. And that would go Rookie, Champion, Ultimate, Mega. Until you finally get to the end here, which is the final boss. I won't spoil who it is. I guess it's just a name. You don't really get to see anyone, but... So how it works is there's 3 different rounds. You need to win 2 out of the 3 to beat the final boss. And if you win, you beat the game and you are the first place winner. I guess you could keep going if you wanted to get second place and yada, yada, yada. If you lose, you're completely out. But, I mean, you can grab another Digimon and start from the beginning if you so desire. Because, say, everybody else loses, then there's no winner. So you just keep going until someone finally has a good build of their Digimon to beat the final boss. So there it is, my latest Minecraft creation, a Digimon board game. I really enjoy making board games. They're probably like my favorite thing to make. They just do take a little bit of time with setting up the systems and whatnot. Now this one is super duper simple. I wanted it to be as simple as I could make it. I wish I did it a little bit better in terms of combat, because as the rounds go on, you kind of have to do math. And sometimes it can be a little bit confusing if you're not the best with doing math like in your head on the spot. But it's fine. It doesn't happen that often. So I'm not too upset with how that turned out. But I think it turned out overall, I think it turned out pretty darn well. And I'm pretty happy with it. Of course, you can go in the description below to download the map, play it with your friends, play it by yourself. You can play it by yourself. It's 1 to 10 players. So if you want to solo it, you sure can. So if you liked the video, if you liked the map, please consider liking and subscribing. That is all from me, and I will see you in the next video.